The Ace of Spies, Sidney Reilly's greatest gamble. The year was 1918, and the Great War was reaching its climax. In the shadows of power, where secrets dictated the fate of nations, one man moved like a ghost, unseen, unknown, yet always a step ahead. Sidney Reilly, the enigmatic British spy of Russian descent, had earned his reputation as the Ace of Spies through daring exploits, double crosses, and an uncanny ability to slip past death itself. But his most dangerous mission was yet to come, a mission of uncertainty. The orders had come from the highest echelons of British intelligence. The Bolsheviks, having overthrown the Russian monarchy and executed the Romanovs, were consolidating power in Moscow. Britain and her allies feared that communism would spread like wildfire through war-torn Europe. Reilly's mission was clear: destabilize the Bolshevik regime from within. Operating under the guise of a businessman, he arrived in Moscow with forged documents, unlimited charm, and a mind sharpened by years of deception. He quickly infiltrated circles of power, posing as a sympathizer while making contact with anti-Bolshevik factions. One evening, under the dim light of a clandestine meeting, he gathered with officers and dissidents who despised Lenin's rule. Reilly laid out an ambitious plan, a coup to topple the Bolshevik government by assassinating its leaders, Lenin, Trotsky, and key figures of the Cheka, the feared Soviet secret police. It was an audacious plot, one that required precision and unwavering nerves. Reilly, ever the pragmatist, knew that in war, victory belonged to the bold, the web of intrigue. Reilly's web extended deep within the enemy's ranks. He bribed Red Army officers, convinced factory workers to rise, and whispered into the ears of those disillusioned by the revolution. Moscow, already a city on edge, was now a powder keg. But the Bolsheviks, ruthless in their grip on power, were not blind to the growing conspiracies. The Cheka had been sniffing around, and time was running out. On the eve of the planned coup, a double agent betrayed them. The Cheka struck with ruthless efficiency, arresting conspirators and executing suspected traitors on the spot. Reilly, sensing the tightening noose, fled into the night, leaving behind allies to be swallowed by the revolution's fury. The Great Escape. Reilly's survival depended on his ability to disappear. Ditching his identity papers, he moved through Moscow's streets, assuming different disguises: an army officer, a foreign merchant, even a beggar. Every shadow seemed to hold an informant, every street corner a potential death trap. His contacts in British intelligence arranged for his extraction, but reaching safety meant navigating the war-torn Russian countryside. With Bolshevik patrols on high alert, escape seemed impossible. But Reilly had an ace up his sleeve. Posing as a Soviet agent, he talked his way onto a military train bound for Petrograd. During the journey, he overheard high-ranking officers discussing troop movements and political executions. Committing every word to memory, he stored intelligence that could shape Britain's next moves against the Bolsheviks. In Petrograd, a fishing vessel chartered by British handlers awaited him. Under the cover of darkness, Reilly slipped past checkpoints, crossed through icy waters, and reached the boat just as gunfire erupted behind him. The Cheka had been moments too late, a shadow in the dark. Reilly made it back to London, bringing with him intelligence that reshaped British strategy. His failure to overthrow the Bolsheviks had been costly, but his survival alone was a victory. Despite MI6's warnings, he refused to abandon his work. The world, still reeling from war, was shifting toward a new kind of conflict, one fought in whispers and shadows. He continued his espionage, operating in Germany, France, and beyond, until 1925, when fate finally caught up with him. Lured back into the Soviet Union under the false promise of rekindling the anti-Bolshevik resistance, he was captured by the Cheka. Sidney Reilly, the Ace of Spies, vanished into the Soviet machine, executed in secret. But his legend endured, shaping the world of espionage for generations to come. Legacy of a master spy. Sidney Reilly was more than a spy. He was a gambler, a strategist, and a man who thrived in chaos. His exploits influenced the very fabric of modern intelligence, inspiring countless operatives who followed in his footsteps. In the annals of espionage, his name remains etched in history, a reminder that the greatest spies do not just gather secrets, they shape the fate of nations.